That should drive some significant sequential growth in January and then again in April. And then we think the gross margin starts to improve quite a bit on the back of Blackwell after a quarter or two, and that'll get the stock going again. So, we feel pretty good there. We know some folks have voiced some concerns on your network as well, but we're seeing, really good demand. And remember, OpenAI just launched a bunch of stuff, and we're not even inferencing with that stuff yet. And Apple, is getting out Apple Intelligence, which hopefully drives some of the OpenAI. So we feel good there. And on AMD, they got a big event next week. We don't think they're bringing us out there, to lay an egg. And we think that last year on that event, it really popped. And, there is room for number two there. So we feel good about AMD as well.
Speaking of Jensen Huang, here he is with us just a couple days ago.
In this discussion, industry experts analyze the significant opportunities in the semiconductor market, focusing primarily on Nvidia and AMD. Nvidia, already a dominant force in AI chips, continues to demonstrate robust demand with their Blackwell architecture and partnerships that fuel growth. AI advancements, particularly with OpenAI and consumer-facing developments like Apple's AI, are expected to drive Nvidia's stock forward. AMD is also seen as having potential, especially with its upcoming event, where further advancements may solidify its position in the AI race. The conversation also delves into broader industry trends, with Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, emphasizing that we are at the beginning of an enterprise AI wave, which will later transition into industrial AI. The integration of AI across various sectors, from enterprise solutions to consumer applications, is set to transform industries. This shift is expected to increase Nvidia's adoption in enterprise environments, as companies seek to utilize small language models tailored to their specific needs. Additionally, partnerships between Nvidia and companies like Accenture are crucial in expanding AI's reach. These collaborations not only enhance Nvidia's competitive advantage, but also accelerate the enterprise adoption of AI technology. With an emphasis on the interconnectedness of AI infrastructure, chips, and software, Nvidia continues to build a formidable competitive moat, positioning itself as a leader in the AI and tech ecosystems.
Where's the opportunity in chips across Nvidia, which has already been huge, then you got AMD, and you got Intel, which hasn't been doing so well?
You're talking about two of my favorite names right there, NVIDIA and AMD. NVIDIA just sounds like it's great. I mean, congrats to you to have that great interview the other night with him saying the word insane. I love that. That sort of tells you what you need to know. Our checks on Blackwell are great, and everybody wants it.
So I want to get your thoughts on this, Dan, especially because Jensen Huang literally said now is the beginning of this next wave, that he thinks this is going to be the biggest wave, this enterprise adoption. And then as that rolls out, you're starting to talk about industrial AI, which we mentioned it before the break. Honeywell CEO said to me yesterday, Vimal Kapoor said to me yesterday, it's the difference between predictive versus deterministic AI, two very different models, two very different outcomes.
$1 trillion of AI CapEx, we believe, next 3 years. And I think what Patrick talks about is a great point. We are just in the first inning of where AI is going, but partnerships like this, I think there's a watershed partnership. And I think what you heard from the godfather of AI, Jensen, what Julie talked about, this is now, it's the multiplier. For every dollar spent on an NVIDIA chip, we know there's an $8 to $10 multiplier across the rest of tech. Infrastructure services, you talk about industrial, sovereign AI, it is just the start. It continues to be our view. It's 9 p.m. in that AI party that goes to 4 a.m. And I think what we see here is just starting to play out.
So Dan, you can kind of see what Jensen and NVIDIA are doing, this pace, yearly pace on the platforms and technology, these partnerships throughout different areas of the ecosystem that don't just involve, hey, here's some chips, but really building on top of our technology. Is it coming down to an eventual zero-sum situation where NVIDIA pulls away, and when they win big, everybody else, at least who competes with them on the chip side, thinking AMD and Intel, are at bigger risk of losing?
Yeah, no doubt. Lisa Su clearly watching this interview and everyone across the industry, because right now they're the only game in town. They're just going to continue to expand that moat. It's the Oracle model, it's the Microsoft model, and I think what they're trying to do is just gain more and more share when you talk about that revenue opportunity, and I think that's what Jensen's going after. I think the big question today is, We talk about this $1 trillion of AI CapEx, fourth industrial revolution playing out. But it is going to be a Game of Thrones battle with other big tech players because Microsoft, Google, Amazon, everything that you talk about in the show, this is now starting to get into that second, third, fourth derivative that I know, Patrick and myself, we talk about a lot.
And Patrick, I'm just going to stick with this discussion that we're having, what this means for the competitive moat for NVIDIA, but also what it means for how, as it builds out this platform, as it now reaches across what he used, connecting fabric was the term he used, with his partnership with Accenture, what this means in terms of making NVIDIA a newer, bigger, more formidable competitor with not just other chip players.
So this 100% increases the moat. More deals like this, and remember, the company cut deals like this with IBM Consulting 6 months ago. So they're going down the line with the major GSIs. And Jensen said it perfectly. We just don't do chips. We do chips. We do comms chips, CPUs. We do racks. We do networking. We do entire data centers, and then put the software on top of that. And then you layer in these types of embeddings, as I will call this. What may have or may not have come across in this deal is that NVIDIA software is going to be integral inside of these solutions from Accenture. And what that does is that builds in a lock-in, that builds a moat. And yes, further down the line, competitors will come in to be able to do that, but it takes time, and people are very happy with the investment that NVIDIA is making into this, and nobody wants to get left behind. Just like we saw FOMO in the data center build out, nobody wants to get left behind with the global systems integrators and everything in between. One of the big issues that hasn't been discussed yet is just I'll call it the pitiful use in the enterprise of AI, right? And I think we're 18 to 24 months current course and speed to start seeing that hockey stick. And this is a deal that could potentially make that happen. Maybe it shaves off time. I'm optimistic about this deal that it will.
This is the beginning of a new wave called enterprise AI. And then after that, as we're entering into enterprise AI, we'll simultaneously developing, cultivating the wave after that, which is industrial AI.
So we've got industrial AI that Jensen is talking about. We've also got Apple Intelligence and perhaps an application-driven consumer AI wave. Which is more investable?
Well, I think it's all investable. I think a lot of stuff gets started in consumer, and then it creates actually a lot of interest in the enterprise. And just like what happened when we had the Chat GPT mania, then a bunch of enterprises woke up to it. I think as as consumers start using visual intelligence from Apple as well as from Google, their version of that, and those kind of things where you're seeing things with your phone and then asking questions about it, that's going to drive a lot more awareness of AI in general. And I think in enterprise, you're going to start seeing many enterprises want to work with small language models so they can cater it to their industries. And then you're going to also see more adoption of the NVIDIA NIMs architecture, which is really going to fuel more enterprise adoption. And we're in the early innings there. We haven't even seen the interest in AI agents, which are autonomous, really pick up. And that's going to be huge. You've been hearing a lot about it from Benioff. I actually think Microsoft's going to drive that more than a SaaS company. We're just in the early innings, John, on so many things. I'm pretty excited.
We just heard from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and Accenture CEO Julie Sweet about their expanded partnership to drive enterprise AI adoption. And joining us now to break it all down, Dan Ives of Wedbush, Patrick Moorhead of More Insights and Strategy. Patch, you're remote, so I want to get your take first here. It's hard to know. We've seen Accenture team up with Microsoft. They're a big go-to-market partner. How big a deal does this have the potential to be, you think, now?
So I think this is a really big deal because it hits it, John, what you and I have talked about before on the show is what are the downstream effects of AI that's being built in the infrastructure? And we talked about what has to connect is this connection to enterprise to get the ball rolling beyond infrastructure. So this is exactly the type of deal that's happening that could potentially do that to accelerate the enterprise. And this is a big deal, not just for Accenture and Nvidia, but for the entire industry.
In conclusion, the discussion highlights the tremendous growth opportunities for Nvidia and AMD in the AI and semiconductor industries. Nvidia, in particular, is benefiting from strong demand for its AI chips, driven by developments like OpenAI and its Blackwell architecture. With new waves of innovation such as enterprise AI and industrial AI, Nvidia's partnerships with companies like Accenture are accelerating the adoption of AI across multiple sectors. This strategy is solidifying Nvidia's competitive edge, ensuring that it remains a dominant player in both enterprise and consumer AI markets. Additionally, the evolving AI landscape is set to drive major changes in enterprise solutions and industrial applications. As more companies adopt Nvidia's technology and as partnerships grow, the AI market is poised for even greater expansion. The collaboration between chipmakers and technology firms is creating a massive multiplier effect, making AI investments more lucrative. These developments signal the beginning of a larger transformation in how industries approach AI-driven solutions. How do you think Nvidia's partnership with Accenture will influence the future of enterprise AI adoption? With Nvidia leading the AI chip market, how do you see competitors like AMD and Intel positioning themselves in the coming years?